This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
Yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Get ready, Minnesota. The legendary Bryan Adams is bringing his Roll with the Punches tour to Target Center on November 26th. Don't miss this epic night of rock anthems and unforgettable hits. Tickets are on sale now. Get all the details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Like, hello?
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Comedy's 10 of E. Time now for 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins' 13-game winning streak was snapped yesterday in a 5-2 loss at Milwaukee. Royce Lewis hit a home run and then was robbed of a second dinger, which would have tied the game in the 8th inning. Zebby Matthews made his season debut. He gave up 4 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, in just 3 innings of work. And the pitching staff's team record 34-inning scoreless streak ended as well. Common, what sticks out to you from the Twins' loss yesterday, but overall we've taken 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee?
Well, you weren't going to win them all, and I just don't know if those 13 wins are those part of the 50 you're going to win, the 50 you're going to lose, and then the other 62 is what determines your fate when it comes to the MLB season. And yesterday's game, is that one of the 50-50 or one of the 62? It's a great stretch, and a couple of those teams were quality. They beat a lot of the dregs. But as I've always said, and I'll say it, I love repeating myself. The Twins don't put together the rosters of the other team, the lineup card. They don't draft the players, so it's whoever they just play who's on the schedule. So that's nice. And we talked about this last week. They were like 7 and something, or they were off to an awful start. They were 7 or 8 games out of first place. Pitching staff wasn't real sharp. They couldn't hit at all. And then they went on the 8-game winning streak, I think 8 or 10, that got him over the 500 mark. And as we talked about then, it's like, would you rather have won 8 in a row to get to 21-20 or lose 8 in a row to get to 21-20? And obviously, it's a pretty simple answer. So, yeah, playing great ball. It's now it's the Guardians. And the Guardians are not. I think is it a 3-way tie for second? I think the Tigers still have like a 5-game advantage.
I think the Twins are in second.
They're in second, either alone or a half game.
Cleveland's lost 4 in a row.
So it's maybe Cleveland and Kansas City are a half game behind the Twins.
Yep, that's correct. We're a half game ahead of both.
So it's a log jam at the top of the AL Central, and so you put yourself in a position where it's just you're chasing the Tigers. And again, I'm going to get ripped by Abbott. I don't know where when we play the Tigers, that'll you'll get a real feel for where we stand, because it does seem like the Tigers, at least to this point of the season, are the cream of the AL Central. They're going to be the team to beat. Now, the Guardians have had a nice start. So has Kansas City. The quality clubs should be great. It should be a great summer and early fall between these teams.
First game against Detroit is June 27th. Yeah.
It's a ways off. So we'll see. That'll circle your calendars for that. So
this is a big week. We got Cleveland, Kansas City this week.
Is that here or there? The Tigers, the first series of the Tigers.
The Tigers would be there.
Yeah, we like being on the road. We have no problems with that. So, yes, you're right. This is Cleveland and Kansas City this week. So, this will be a true test against the teams in your division. Should be fun. But, it's hard to rip the club for winning 13 games in a row.
Question number 2.
Scottie Scheffler won his 3rd major, winning the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow yesterday. He won by 5 strokes after finishing at 11 under. Comment your thoughts on the PGA Championship, and how many majors will Scheffler win during his career?
I thought it would be a walk in the park for him. He had a 3-shot lead going into yesterday's final round, and I basically declared that anybody that would listen, that this is over. There's no reason. He's too good. He's certainly right now the best player. I mean, he's the best player in golf. He's the number 1 ranked player in the world. He won, I think was it 8 or 9 times last year. I mean, plus a major. He proved it again yesterday when he distanced himself from the field. It was interesting. Johnny Rahm made a real run. There was a soundbite from Rahm after the 3rd round. He said, I'm in a pretty good spot. I'll probably be 1 back at the most. Going into Sunday, he was 5 back because nobody saw Scheffler putting together the kind of round he did on Saturday. And I love the quote from Scheffler. I don't know how much of it you watched, Tenneby, or some of the post-tournament festivities. But on the front side, Scottie was struggling. Everything was going left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody's speculating as to why. Was it the pressures? And the best they asked me, he goes, I kept hitting it left. This is Scottie talking. I'm paraphrasing. He goes, I kept hitting it left, and I said to my caddy after I hit it left on 9 too, and I said, I thought I hit that pretty good. Why is it going left? He goes, maybe you should just aim a little further to the right. And sure enough, he just aimed a little further to the right. Brilliant. And he just tore up the backside and went on to win. Rahm was right there. Rahm had.
Yeah.
I don't think they were bad putts. They just didn't. The one was really unfortunate. I think it was on
13. Yeah. That looked like it was in the whole time.
The whole time. And it spun and did a 90-degree out of there, and he missed another one. And he just.
Well, then even his ensuing shot on 14, the tee shot on the short par 4.
Yes.
That looked like it was going to be a perfect drive. And it just took a weird bounce.
Instead of kicking toward
instead of going towards the green and the left, it kicks right into the bunker.
And the ball was drawing. Too.
Yeah.
It was just you could see the part it hit on the green, that was the one place on the green, I guess you don't want to hit the ball when you're coming in with the ball, because it did kick right. And he hit a nice bunker shot, could have made that putt, didn't make that one either. And what was interesting is, if you looked at the way, DeChambeau was right there as well. But if you looked at how they played the so-called Green Mile, the last 3 holes, 16, 17, and 18, I think Rahm played it in +5. DeChambeau, it was like +3, I think. Scottie played it -1. So that was really the difference in the tournament. And he's awfully good, Tenneby. And Chambly pointed this out, and I'm certainly not a guy that's, doing the sabermetrics analytics. But he says, because the one thing, if you're, it's hard to say the best player in the world has a weakness in his game, but if there is of all the different statistical categories that you have, driving, greens and regulation, strokes saved by putting, whatever it is, proximity to the hole, all of those things. The one thing is his putting always could be iffy. When he didn't win, it usually seemed like he'd miss some real makeable putts, those 4 to 8 footers, like Chambly was saying. And now he's turned that almost into a strength. He's better at his 4 and 8 foot putts than he's been in the past. And he went to the mallet putter. You know, a lot of people are going with the mallet. I think we may have talked about this on the air. I saw one of those Golf Channel things where everybody's going with mallet now, and it's pretty simple. Even Rory went with him. And it's simple. Rory basically said, well, the misses aren't as bad. You don't have to hit it perfect every time because the mallet will correct it more. So, but the putting was just.
Where can I get one of those mallet putters? Can you let me know? Do you have a name and a phone number?
Ping. And the putter went ping. That's what I use. I've got a mallet putter. I like it. Same thing. I only liked playing with a blade. I didn't like some of those look like the Mir space station. You know, there's just, you know, there's junk shooting off in every direction. There's little metal, you know, extensions here and there. They're just weird. But I've got a pretty basic one that's kind of almost a half moon kind of a shape. I just love it. I just think it's great. But
it's a half mallet.
Half mallet. He's so, he's just really good. He's fun to watch, and he stayed cool, calm, and collected. He's shown his emotions a little more recently than he has in the past, but he was really good. And I don't know, going to the Open Championship, I guess he's got to be the favorite, right?
He seems to handle his emotions as well as anybody on the golf course.
Absolutely.
Now, it probably helps when you hit as good a shots as he does.
You are correct.
Question number 3. It's time now for a look at the Lynx.
The Lynx are off to a 2-0 start after winning 89-75 yesterday in Los Angeles. Nafisa Collier scored 23 points, and Alana Smith added 18 points on 7 of 10 shooting. Courtney Williams finished with 13 points and 10 assists. Comment your thoughts on the 2-0 start for your Minnesota Lynx.
How many regular season games do they play in the WNBA? Oh, sorry, didn't research it again. Is it 32, 36?
I think it's in the 30s, yeah.
Let's say it's 36 just for the fun of it. What are we on pace to go? 36-0.
Well, they're playing a record high 44 this season.
44 this year.
Yeah.
We're on pace to go 44-0. You can't argue with the math. I like the start. It's hard not to. And I don't know. Coaches have different ways of motivating players, right? I've always liked.
Well, it's 40 games during the regular season, it looks like.
I've always liked a.
No, it's 44.
Okay.
Why can't Google get her correct?
I don't know.
It's the first time they've done 44.
I like players that don't need to be motivated by the coach. I don't know what percentage of that of athletes that are, regardless of the league, WNBA, NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever, you know. It seems like coaching's important, and then sometimes coaches motivating with the, you know, win one for the Gipper kind of speeches. I guess they work for certain people. And the reason I bring this up is I don't know. Cheryl Reeve obviously made it perfectly clear, even before this season started. She's still bitter about the way the season ended last year with a foul call that, I don't remember, was it a foul against us that shouldn't have been, or was it a foul that they didn't call against them? Whatever it was, she felt like we got jobbed by the officials, and a lot of other people felt the same way. And she even talked about it this year, going into the season. So I'm not sure if that's used as motivation in the locker room, where it's like, remember what they did to us last year? Well, you know what we do? We take the outcome of the game out of the hands of the referees. We don't let even if they blow whistles, it's not going to matter, because we're gonna get to big leads. We're going to dominate. We're going to win games, regardless. I don't know if they're using that, but whatever they've done, it's worked. They're 2-0, and all they do is win.
Did you see the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese incident over the weekend?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I heard it was like a flagrant foul, and there were those that thought it was over the top, but she said no, and I think even Reese said no, it was a basketball. Did they both agree it was a basketball?
I think
play?
Angel's reaction to it initially was over the top, is what I think.
Yeah.
She's the Draymond Green of the WNBA.
But I think they...
Caitlin Clark, it was a hard foul. It was one of those where you're intentionally trying to foul them so they can't get the easy layup.
Correct.
Kind of a thing. And Caitlin had a little flop after it and tried to act like it was some major foul by Caitlin, which I don't agree.
Well, that's what they do. You try to embellish it to make sure you get the call. I think that does it, doesn't it?
That is it for.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
I wouldn't trade one Al Jefferson for 2 Kevin Garnetts. We're going to expand on that when we return here on the Common Man program. Although we affectionately call FM 100.3 The Fan.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now. Free shot at winning. The keyword is check. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks to friends at Unreal, you can restock your wardrobe with Unreal golf apparel this year, just like Common. Register to win up to $1,000 in Unreal golf apparel on our contest page. One lucky winner will restock their closet with amazing golf apparel thanks to Unreal. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. Western Conference Finals begin on this radio station tomorrow. Not sure when the pregame is. I know the tap should be 7:30 or shortly thereafter. Don't have to wait for the conclusion of another Western Conference playoff series. Don't have to even wait for the result of an Eastern Conference playoff series, because we're down to the finals now in each conference, and they'll play on alternate days. We kick it off tomorrow in Oklahoma City. I say we, being the Wolves. If they lose 4 in a row, it's they. But right now it's we. Wolves will visit Oklahoma City, and then tomorrow it's the New York Knickerbockers taking on the Indiana Pacers. So there's your 2 championship series. JG is here, feverishly prepping for a bumper-to-bumper. Here, probably got here, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Tend to be, how early do you usually get here for the show?
Do I?
Yeah, for the Grump.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depends what else I have going on. Whether I got appointments, whether I got kids stuff.
So you might roll in. I mean, you
anywhere from 9:30 to probably 11.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
JG rolled in. I don't know. It sounds like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and he's over there preparing. And I went over there, and I, as you know, tend to be. He rubed it up last week. He actually got on that big old jet airliner, flew to the land of the Golden Gate to watch game 4 of the Western Conference semifinal series? Because it wasn't a clinching game. It was game 4 between the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves. He flew on that big old jet airliner, Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, L.A. Went to Oakland or wherever, San Francisco, and he went to the game. He Ubered it to the stadium, watched the game, and came back, took the red eye, and was here. I don't know if he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but he was here for the show. And we kind of chided him a little bit about on air about how big of a rube you got to be to go to. I mean, again, it's playoffs, so you're excited about your club, they're your team, but it wasn't even a clinching game. So I just asked him now. I said, "Will you be going to Oklahoma City for any of the games?" He said, "Highly unlikely." And I thought about it for a second, and I don't blame him, because to get to Oklahoma City, the only way there is stagecoach, right? I mean, they don't even fly into that part of the thing, right? I don't think they have airports in Oklahoma City. That's down in Oklahoma, They got oil fields, we know that. Got oil fields, but we don't have any airport. What's an aircraft? What's an aeroplane? We ain't got those there. So you got to actually take the Pony Express, which isn't. I got to think the shock absorbers on those Stagecoaches aren't very good. That's not a very comfortable ride. And being an Edina kid, riding the Stagecoach, not going to work. So it sounds like he's staying home.
That's not the Rube Gerdsey I know.
No, I was a little disappointed. Now, I suppose if it went to a Game 7, he'd say, giddy up and get on that old high noon stage. And
just an 11-hour and 23-minute drive.
A little slower on Stagecoach, though, don't you think? A little bit. Anyway, because they got old out there in Oklahoma City, but I don't know if they
I'm disappointed that he would not. I expected Brett Blakemore to be here tomorrow and that he was going to be going to Game 1.
Yeah. We'll see as the series progresses if he makes his way there. Tenneby, do you remember the preposterous statement, the idea? We didn't know we were going to do a preposterous statement tournament, but what led to it was Charlie Walters, affectionately known as Shooter, writes Fish Wrap Factory. He's sort of the Sid Hartman of the late Sid Hartman. He did what the late Sid Hartman did at the Star. What Sid did for the Star Trib is what Charlie Walters does for Fish Wrap Factory Eastside. Kind of a notebook nuggets kind of a thing.
There's direct flight to OKC. I think Delta's the only one. Yeah.
They do fly there. They actually have an airport. I didn't realize that.
Is Jed and Jethro still down there?
That's I'd like to. We should maybe duck in and see if we can get a little Jed and yeehaw. So,
that's the station they worked at was KOKC.
KOKC. That's exactly where they worked at. Jed and Jethro, hell of a show.
I miss them.
I do too. I think we all do. So, I think Shooter did the piece where it said, I wouldn't trade one Al Jefferson for 2 Kevin Garnetts, and then eventually led to the preposterous statement tournament. It was a number of years later, probably 2 decades, where I cornered LaVelle E. Neal III, esteemed columnist, Fish Wrap Factory, west side of the river, with a question, because he was really high on Royce Lewis. And I said, if hypothetical, and of course this can't happen, but I just said, I wanted to see how excited he was about Royce Lewis. I said, hypothetically, if you traded Royce Lewis and knew you would win 1 World Series, would you do it? He said no. And his logic was, Royce Lewis is so good, he's going to give the Twins multiple opportunities.
Multiple kicks at the can.
He doesn't even play most of the time, but that's, again, at the time we asked the question, that's what he said. I'm going to ask you a question, Tenneby.
Yeah.
Would you trade J.J. McCarthy or Jets if the Vikings would win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
You would?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think LaVelle would? Would you trade Anthony Edwards if you knew you were going to win an NBA title?
Ant's the one guy in town that I actually do believe they've got multiple championship potential with him.
Oh my gosh! Above average at that.
He's only 23 years old. Like they've got a 10 to 12 year window here where he could be one of, if not the best player in ball of basketball. And when you have that in basketball, you've got multiple shots at it. So I think he's the one guy I would say no to.
Would you trade Kirill if you knew the Minnesota Wild would win one Stanley Cup? You would?
Yes. And I love watching him play. He's as entertaining as, but we're obviously going to win multiple championships with Kirill Kaprizov here. We are building a dynasty here. It's going to be the Skatriots.
Yeah, I may trade anybody and everybody. If you were, again, it's a silly concept because it's, you can't guarantee it. But it's people get so enamored with a certain player. And when they are, I don't know, it looks like Ant is generational. I don't know if Kaprizov is generational, but certainly for this franchise, he is. McCarthy and Jefferson. Jefferson's the best wide receiver in pro, arguably. Maybe Jaden. Who was this?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, maybe him. But I think most people would take Jefferson. And, Royce Lewis, certainly a talented player, but I think people get enamored with players and like them so much and just feel that there's an attachment not only to that player because of the excitement that he brings in the wins that he brings, but again, you can't do it all alone. And so sometimes you wonder, people, they just like that player so much and they've invested so much time and energy and faith in him, they don't want to. But world champions are, and this is not to take anything away from the Lynx or the Frost, but when we're talking about the men's major four, we all know the records, right? Only the Twins, and it was twice, and the last was 91. Wolves never done it. Maybe this is the year. Wild have never done it. We know this year won't be the year, and the Twins we don't know either. But yeah,
Frost are in the finals.
The Frost are in the finals.
They have a chance to go back to back.
You are correct. It's all very controversial, but that's what we do here on the Common Man program on the Fan. Short break. Come back with more after this here on the Fan.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Farm Aid 40 is coming to Minneapolis. Join Willie Nelson, Neil Young, Dave Matthews, and more Saturday, September 20th at Huntington Bank Stadium. Celebrate 40 years of music, food, and family farming. Tickets on sale May 16th. Get the full details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
We'll do some more is best we can do it. Wolves, Thunder breakdown. I don't think that's really tend to be my cup of tea. I mean, we can do it. You can get it in so many different places where, let's talk about the matchups again in game number one. We'll do some of that, but we don't really dive too deep. We generally like to employ the esoteric approach, which sort of takes those things out of the equation, or we only use them if we feel like it really has, it's going to have a real impact on the outcome of a game or the series itself. Another football note tend to be the National Football League never takes a day off. This is a CBS Sports.com story. New NFL playoff format could be coming in 2025. Owners expected to vote on a huge postseason change. And that postseason change would be pretty simple. It would come in the divisional round, where the NFL would reseed the playoffs based on who has the best record. If this format would have been in existence last year, it would have had a huge impact on the NFC playoffs. Here's what the divisional round looked like last season, the NFL tend to be. Number 6, Commanders, 12-5. At number 1, Motor City Kitties, 15-2. Number 4, Rams, 10-7. At number 2, Eagles, 14-3. If the NFL had reseeded the divisional round based on who has the best record, it would have been Lions at 1, Eagles at 2, Commanders at 3, and Rams at 4. Under the scenario, the Rams would have faced the Lions in the divisional round, and the Commanders would have faced the Eagles. This rule proposal would not have had any impact on the AFC playoffs last year. This is dramatically different from the playoff modification that the Kitties proposed back in March. Under the Lions' original proposal, the 7 teams in each conference would have still consisted of 4 division champs and 3 wild cards. However, the big change is that the teams would be seeded by who has the best record. Under that proposal, a wild card team could have been seeded ahead of a division winner if the wild card team had a better record. That means that a wild card team could be seeded as high as number 2. Mm-hmm. Under the current format, the 4 division winners get the top 4 seeds, followed by the 3 wild card teams. In the current format, no wild card team can be seeded higher than 5th. So if the Lions' original proposal had been in place in 2024, here's what it would have looked like in 2024, 1 through 7. Lions No, this is what it was. It was Lions, Eagles, Bucks, Rams, Vikings, Commanders, Packers. Here's what it would look like with the Lions' original proposal: Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Commanders, Packers, Buccaneers, Rams, rock bottom instead of 4. Do you like the way it is now, or do you like a reseeding during the divisional round? Or this Lions proposal that was from the beginning of the playoffs, all based upon record?
I just like the way it is now.
Do you?
I don't know why. I get it. There's going to be certain years where, like last year, like the Vikings, it was unfortunate for the Vikings, right? You got a 5 seed instead of a 3 seed, and now you're playing on the road as a road team with a better record than the home place you're going to, right? I get, like, inherently that's not fair. We think we need to make everything fair, but even if you change it to this new proposal, there's still going to be situations where it's not fair. Like one team could have a much, right? Like one team with the wild card might have a better record than one of the division winners, but they might have had a much easier schedule. And like they might have had 2 teams that were just,
in their division that were putrid.
Yeah, Detroit Lions, like for the 2000s in your division, right? And you got 4 easy wins, whereas the other team had to go against a gauntlet of a schedule, right? Like it's never going to be perfect. And I think it puts more importance on division games, which I like. I like having those rivalries.
I do think it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other as well, because it goes back to the old, you got to beat them all, right? You really do. I mean, yes. I mean, could it be where, like, if you avoid a team that's considered one of the best teams in the league gets upset? Let's say number 1, like Detroit did, number 1 seed of Detroit gets beat by the Commanders, right? Well, that changes everything. If you're the team that's going to, all of a sudden you're like, God, I thought we were going to have to play Detroit. Now we're playing Commanders, or however would work out.
Well, I mean, the Vikings would have had a home game last year instead of a road game, and that changes things.
That does change things. It also changes, like I say, if you're able to tiptoe and avoid the minefield that is a really difficult team, or maybe just a matchup that's not favorable to you, right? That's the other thing. You might play a team, if you're the 2 seed, you might play a 5, and if it was changed, it'd be different. But it's like, well, you don't match up well against that 5 seed. Like, they're really good against the pass, and you're a mediocre passing club, so now you're going to have even more trouble, right? So I kind of tend to agree with you. I mean, I wouldn't mind a reseed in the divisional round, but I think keeping it as it is. I don't know what the league will do. I know the one thing that's been stated.
I mean, they're already doing the reseeding.
Oh.
Right?
Well, this says,
like, the 1 seed plays the lowest seed that advances.
Yeah.
They're not stuck on like a side of a bracket like the NBA is.
Well, here's what it said. If the NFL had reseeded the divisional round based on who has the best record, it would have looked like Lions, Eagles, Commanders, Rams. And in this scenario, the Rams would have faced the Lions.
Oh, because it was based on seeding.
Yeah,
got it.
The seed. So it would have been different. And I mean, I don't mind that.
They're still reseeding. It's just that the seeding would be different.
Right. Well, here's what I know will never happen is teams don't want to give up that home game. So even if your wild card team like the Vikings is 15-2 or 14-3 like we were, you ain't going to get a home game over 9-8 Tampa Bay if they win the division, because they don't want to give up those playoff games, right? And I get that, right? That's, again, I don't know how much that affects the bottom line, but a full stadium at playoff ticket prices, it's got to be several $1 million, right? And then you attach onto that concessions. I mean, it's a nice little payday. It'll, put it this way, it'll play for your holder and your long snapper. It'll pay their salaries, right? And that's what they're kind of looking for there. So we'll see. Again, there could be a vote on it this year. That could change according to this story.
I think it's going to be voted on potentially tomorrow.
Yeah,
they have the owner. Yeah, it's in Minneapolis.
Right. So it could be. It could happen as soon as this year.
I think PA is broadcasting from.
Well, and he should, because he's the voice of the Vikings. He's a national
treasure. I feel like we should be there.
How much longer would it take me to get parked and such? I got to play golf. Tomorrow's going to be an awful day for golf. I might bag it. Honestly, did you see it tomorrow?
Oh yeah, it looks awful.
It's like early December.
Yeah,
it's like winds blowing 30 miles an hour. temperature's going to be about 32. And I know the game is played outdoors, but guess what? Like I tell people, if it was November 20th tomorrow and it was going to be the last day to play, I might, but it's only May 20th. Sorry. I'm a tough guy, but I ain't that tough. So there was another NFL story I saw tend to be one of those. This is called lazy list radio, which we've basically cornered the market on, and we've conquered that. It's another one of those CBS sports stories. Tend to be 5 NFL players with the most to prove in the 2025 season. With the most to prove. 5 players. You want to venture a guess at who those 5 players are?
It's pretty hard off the top of my head. I'm assuming an Aaron Rodgers or J.J. McCarthy might be in that mix.
J.J. McCarthy is there. I didn't know you'd guess that. But yes, that is J.J. McCarthy is listed as number 4. It says the Vikings essentially let Kirk Cousins walk in 2024 so they could prioritize a young arm like McCarthy. Then they let Sammy Darnold walk this March to double down on McCarthy's promise, despite multiple knee surgeries robbing the Michigan product of any real snaps as a rookie. JJ's setup is undeniably spicy, making the Vikings a candidate to shake up the NFC North once more. That'll still require the first-time starter enduring some of a brutal schedule to meet 2024 inflated expectations. I will say this tend to be the other 4 players are also all quarterbacks.
Oh, all 5 of them are quarterbacks?
All 5 of them are quarterbacks.
And Aaron Rodgers is not on that list?
No, he is not.
Why? Is Josh Allen on there?
No.
I mean, he's proven a lot, but he still hasn't proven he can.
No, I don't think they mean that. They're talking about guys that it's time to play like
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's correct. He's number 1 on that list. It says Lawrence is in the peculiar position of having already secured a handsome financial commitment while potentially playing for his job under a new coach. Consider the former number 1 pick is already on his 3rd coach with almost as many career turnovers, 68 as Tutty, 69, entering year 5 of a much hyped career. The Jaguars need him not only to be more available, he's played hurt or missed time for much of the last 2 years, but they need to capitalize on a weak division. I would think he's number 1 on that list because he was, again, considered, I don't know about generational quarterback, but wasn't he number 1 overall?
Yes, he was. And they just acquired Travis Hunter in the 2nd pick of the draft.
Correct.
Is Dak Prescott on there?
Yes, he is at number 5. And basically the same story. It says about Prescott, it says, is Prescott a safer bet as a starting quarterback than, say, Michael Penix Jr. with the Falcons? Sure. That doesn't mean he isn't under worlds of pressure to justify the Cowboys' sudden vault back into the national spotlight. And because he hasn't, I mean, we've all seen there's talent there, but I don't think he's ever lived up to the expectations or the
He's had some great regular seasons.
Yep.
They did get George Pickens. They just acquired from the Pittsburgh Steelers to give him another option to throw to. I was going to suggest Michael Penix. Is he on there as well?
No. Be Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
And Anthony Richardson.
Richardson might not have as much time to prove as the rest of them.
Right. And so, that's always the danger. We've discussed this when drafting quarterbacks. Everybody wants to draft that franchise guy that's going to give you as we talked about a segment or two ago, that 5 years of really a small paycheck so that you can supplement the rest of your roster with, free agents or, because I guess, there's sort of a cliche in football where you build the foundation of your team through the draft and then you when it's time to strike, you supplement a position or two of need with a, generally speaking, a high-priced free agent. That's a proven commodity, and you're hoping that he continues to play at the level he's played at, so that he can lift you to that next level, lift the team to that next level that they're looking for. And as I've always said, if you draft the wrong quarterback, you can set your franchise back almost an entire decade because you usually give them 3 years. Right? Mm-hmm. So certainly a half a decade. Because if you give a guy 3 years and go after the 3rd year, you go, I don't like this. Sort of like when Ben Lieber was listening to the Common Man program. He said, I don't like this. And then all of a sudden that's 3 years gone. And you got to draft another guy or acquire another guy. And that might take 2 or 3. I mean, you could be in quarterback purgatory forever, as we know here in this town. It happens. So your Bryce Young's is, and your Trevor Lawrence's is, and you're
We've been in a different type of purgatory.
Yeah.
Like we haven't been in a other than Christian Ponder for a small stretch. We haven't been in a franchise quarterback that we spent years and years trying to develop and work around them.
Yeah.
We usually just go the cast it off veteran route.
Yeah. Which has worked in a couple of cases.
It's actually been decent quarterback play here for how much they've actually put into it.
I mean, the Favre year was special. I mean, until what happened in Bounty Gate, but that was old Silver Fox veteran quarterback who I don't know. It was exciting, but I really didn't expect. I didn't expect him to play as well as he did. Right?
I think the most disappointing was Dante Culpepper because he looked great for a couple of years there. Like he was second in MVP voting one year. Like he kind of looked like the guy. He was a different type of quarterback at that time. He could move, but he was also a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
But he could throw the ball. You had Randy to throw it to. It looked like, man, we're going to have this guy for quite some time. And that just fell off the cliff quickly.
Wasn't his celebration the roll-on thing?
Yeah.
Didn't he do? Well, I heard the story. I think I got the right player. If I don't, I'll preface this with an apology to Dante. But I think he was living over in gated community, Bear Path, right?
Mm-hmm.
And twice when the season was over, he left for Southern Climes, and he forgot to turn the water off. And twice, it happened one year. No! Pipes froze, burst, flooded the basement, had to redo the whole thing. Then the next year, forgot to turn off the water, pipes burst, flooded the entire basement.
Didn't learn his lesson.
Didn't apparently learn his lesson about turning off that water.
Just didn't care. He could just throw money at the problem.
Well, that's true, too. Well, I think he probably cared, but he just didn't remember. I mean, I don't think you actually go in there and say, if the pipes burst, they burst.
I think you'd remember after the first time.
Well, that's what I would think. But then again, what the hell do I know? We're going to take a deep dive in NBA Plus, but did you see the story about driver inspections failing at the, not car drivers, but golf drivers?
Golf club, yeah.
And that McElroy apparently was playing with an illegal driver. And then so
Jefferson, Scottie.
Well, Scottie just brought it up on in his interview. He said, so all the focus was on McElroy, and the people were going, was he using that illegal driver during the Masters? Did he really win a green jacket? Should there be an asterisk? Next to they've got the little Masters logo on your green jacket. Should there be a little asterisk in the corner? Much like should there be an asterisk on the Wolves Western Conference championship banner that they'll be hoisting here in a little bit because they beat a team without Steph Curry. But apparently, so what I thought is when I first heard the story, I kind of heard it secondhand, and I thought, well, how can they get but tell me if you understand it correctly. When you use your driver over and over and over again, the face, I think it's titanium, it starts to get thinner, which actually increases the trampoline
yes.
effect. So it's not that you're intentionally saying, psst, come over, I got this driver for you. We've engineered it to go 50 yards.
Put some cork in it.
Yeah, exactly. We've engineered it to go 50 yards further. We won't say anything if you don't. It's not one of those kinds of things. It's like if you use your driver enough, and Scottie said, we thought we were getting in that area where we've been using it a lot, and it was probably getting close. But I guess until they check, and they don't, I don't think if I read the story correctly, they only like a third of the players.
Yes, that's what Scottie was complaining about. Was I'm fine with them checking, but you should be checking everybody.
Oh, and I think they should too, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you would only pick 50 of them.
Just a rando. Just like, remember when with PEDS, didn't they do that? They would just randomly pick players and go, hey, you, come here. We're going to test you for PEDs. And, they do it on TSA. I'm the guy that gets picked every time to take my shoes off because I look like the shoe bomber, I guess. So they pull me over to the side, make me take my shoes off, frisk me, do the whole thing. And they only do it randomly because I guess they can't do it to every single person. But if you're going to, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to test those drivers just when you come in on Sunday night or Monday when you go to your practice round, got a machine. I don't know. They must have an Iron Byron or something. Here, check it. Does this work? If it doesn't, get a new driver. And then there was the claim that when McElroy had to change his driver, he was so used to that one that it went to the next one and wasn't quite the same, which I don't know if I buy that or not. I mean, I guess it's like you get used to a certain feel of a driver or a golf club.
I could see it I would think they're playing the same clubs. It's not like they're switching golf clubs, right? But like if I had to play a different hockey stick than the one I'm accustomed to, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to completely destroy your game that night.
How many more goals do you think you would score in old man hockey?
Well, I'd be turning the puck over 6 times now instead of 4, right?
Yes, yes. Fewer turnovers would be good, for your club. Well, that's like I discovered, I was waiting for, this is Inside Golf Talk. And, the equipment junkies love this talk. And by the way, I know, well, let's just say we've had our best report card we've ever had in our entire lives. And people come to us for draft coverage, apparently. We've never had that many people listen in 1 week than we had the week of the draft.
Yeah.
And that's because of Purple Prey. No, it is.
Huh?
Purple Prey. My insights. My insights like, now who's got the first pick overall? Those are the kinds of things I have to offer during draft week. And then, of course.
How many draft picks do we have?
Yeah. And then, of course, mocking the mock draft.
Yeah.
That goes to show you how popular that is because we've never had a better report card. So leave the radio to the professionals. So I'm waiting for a new 56 degree. Because you know what I found out? Pros change their wedges like every 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Because they use them so much that actually the grooves start to wear out. You don't get as much spin. And the story even said, if you're an amateur golfer that plays like a couple hundred rounds a year, and I don't know who gets a chance to do that, but a couple hundred rounds, you should be changing your wedges at least once a year, if not twice. So I'm thinking, well, I got to get a new wedge. So look, let's face it, I'm on the ping playing staff. I love saying that. So I'm waiting on a new 56. I go through some other clubs I have, and I had a set of, I test for ping, right? So they'd given me some of these G730. I've been playing the 440s. They gave me the 730s. I'm waiting for my new 56. I start going through the 730s. They actually have a 56. Usually those sand wedges, you get them. Usually you get a W wedge and a U wedge with ping, and that's what you get with the set. Then you have to get your specialty wedges. Mm-hmm. This had a 56 degree sand wedge, and it's a bigger face. The club head's bigger. It almost looks like a snow shovel, right? It's that big. And I thought, well, I don't know if I can play with this. Then I brought that out there, and I was like, when that wedge is in my hand, I'm better than 50% of the wedge play. I'm as good as 50%. I'm better than 50% of the players on tour with a wedge in my hand.
Were you in awe of yourself?
I was in awe of myself. And I couldn't miss with that thing. The only thing is it comes off kind of hot. I mean, it takes off, so you got to be very careful. So you have to have, if your dad was a blacksmith, you have no chance. If your dad was a watchmaker or a heart surgeon, he's passed that gene onto you, that baby is gold. It's so nice. But anyway, little this, that, lat. So now they're probably gonna have to test everybody's driver now. Is what they're gonna probably have to do because I don't see how they can get around that. And next up is a U.S. Open, and that's at Oak Hill, I believe, where Bryson DeChambeau will be your defending champ, and then Royal Portsmouth they'll close it out at. We'll be on the road for Tee to Green up at Grandview. You're in on Friday. I'm out again, going to Camp Richard. It's the annual trip. It's what I do. Abbott should have known this by now. I don't even know why he didn't. He asked me to, are you taking any time off? It's obligatory. I do it every Memorial Day weekend. I always have and I always will. So I'm headed. That's just an inside joke. I'm really sorry. I can't stop myself. We're going to give away tickets to Flop, Sweat, and Tears, by the way, later this week. You have to check Promo Suite. Because we're going to, I don't think it's today, but 2 times this week, not once but twice, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to the final Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour show.
Boy.
Of 2024-25. May 31st, Saturday night at Birdie's in Woodbury. We'll give away a couple pairs of those this week, a couple pair next week. Is it Oakmont? I thought it was going to be at Oak Hill. Somebody's telling me it's at Oakmont. Oakmont, Oak Hill, Oak Marsh, Oak this, Oak that, wherever they're playing. We'll pause and we'll return with some NBA talk. Little hoop action.
It's at Oakmont.
Oakmont.
In Pennsylvania.
Next on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
Yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.